All right, welcome to 11:30 The Tiger Podcast. This is Dylan Marsh, and this is your week preview of the upcoming LSU game. And as we also will talk about the last week's Mississippi State game, and I'm joined here with Adrian.
What's going on?
The biggest LSU fan in Louisiana, probably in my eyes. And he's got great insight for LSU. And let's go ahead and get started. And before we start talking about the actual team itself, let's talk about the head man of the team and Les Miles. And what you saw of this LSU game, did he kind of redeem himself, or were you even part of that whole Fire Les Miles movement?
I've never been a part of the Fire Les Miles movement. I felt that he could have better been suited as a recruiting specialist for the team if he ever did get fired. But as head coach, I don't know what much better we would find somewhere else in a coach.
What do you think? If he got fired, he would stay for recruitment?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he would. I just feel that would be better for him than being the head coach. Because he's one of the top recruiters in the country. You can't replace a guy like that from a recruiting standpoint.
We need to fire him before the bacon finish frying in the skillet. We need to.
There are a lot of people out there who think Les Miles should have been fired right after that Wisconsin game, which is, I think, completely unfair for him, just because it was the first game of the year, you know?
Yeah, a lot of teams come out flat during the first week of the season, especially on the road.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about the LSU Mississippi State game Saturday night as LSU pulls out a 23-20 win in Baton Rouge against the Bulldogs. And, okay, so before I say anything, what stood out to you in that game? Was it Etling? Was it maybe the defense? You know, they gave up 20 points to the Bulldogs. Was it Fournette actually having a pretty decent, great game compared to other running backs? But
yeah, well, for him, that we're like, as an LSU fan, I don't even get excited about 147 yards and 2 touchdowns because that's normal for him. For me, it would have to be Etling. Like, even though his numbers weren't staggering, for an LSU quarterback, they were really sufficeable. He went 19 for 30, which throwing the ball that much for our offense is already unusual, you know, because we're a running team. But he was 19 for 30 with 215 yards and a touchdown, no turnovers. That's the big thing for our quarterbacks, is not turn the ball over.
Yeah, Etling had a great game. Etling tossed the ball around pretty well, and I think what sparks that offense
financial
is
security. There are 2 halves to consider.
What is this?
Protect and grow. Instead of focusing on insurance.
I got financial security. Calm down, ad. But Etling, how he spreads the ball around. One thing I see a difference between him and Brandon Harris is Harris kind of relied on Malachi Dupree to go up and catch these footballs. And what I see in Etling is he spreads the ball around the field.
The ball's very spread out.
He definitely sparks a fire in that offense by getting everyone involved, and that opens up the running game for Fournette, which is, you know, he crazy stiff arm. Did you see that stiff arm Fournette had?
I actually did not see it. I was at work. I was listening on the radio. I heard it, though.
He murdered that man. There's no one. I've never seen anyone, professional or college football, you know, have a better stiff arm than Leonard Fournette. He trucks people over. He just gets you out of his way, and that's one thing I love about Leonard Fournette. It's just he's so fun to watch. So
what I like about Etling is, though, as you said, it opens up the offense for Fournette to run the ball, but he's where he differs from Brandon. He's not afraid to throw it down the field. Yeah. Like you said, whenever Brandon does throw it, it's normally to Dupree.
Yeah, or Harris always tries to check down.
Yeah,
really fast.
And I think that also creates another dimension for the offense later in the season, because teams know that they can't just stack the box, that you got to keep someone back there, because Etling's got a big arm. And he had 23 rushing yards also, which I don't know if we should be accustomed to that in the future, but he's got a little bit of wheels on him.
Yeah, I was very surprised how well he actually ran the ball. He had 3 rushes for only 23 yards, but they were, great decisions. He didn't sit there and take a sack or throw it away. He wasn't scared. He ran up the middle. He ran to the outside, and he slid. But it was great. They were all great decisions.
Just good quarterback instincts.
Yeah.
You know when to get out of the pocket. The team that we got right now, it really reminds me of the Mettenberger years. I mean, clearly our receivers aren't Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, but just the fact that we're more willing to, throw it down the field. with Etling, and that's what I like to see that out of our team.
And one thing that stood out for me for the Tigers was whatever I'm saying was how, you know, I know Fitzgerald for Mississippi State, the quarterback for the Bulldogs, had a really good game against South Carolina. And before you sit there and say, but it was South Carolina.
That's what I was
know
thinking.
South Carolina sucks, but still, this dude, that's an SEC defense. And if, you know, everyone who says SEC is so dominant,
I'm not one of those people, just clarifying.
You know, this guy, he throws for 178 yards against South Carolina for 2 touchdowns. Then he also runs for 195 yards against South Carolina. And when I saw that, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, if you're going to do that against an SEC defense, you've got to be some type of good. And he is. He's a really good quarterback. And with that being said, LSU shut him down.
That's one thing that our defense has always been able to do is shut down running quarterbacks.
Because Fitzgerald had 13 rush attempts. Do you know how many rushing yards he had?
How many?
13. He averaged 1 yard a carry, and his longest run was a 15-yard play. But LSU had 4 tackles for loss against him when he was trying to run the football.
That 15-yard run was also the longest LSU let up for the game.
Yeah, and so I was impressed about LSU's defense and how they held him, but they still let Mississippi State, who's struggling to put up points against their past 2 opponents, he let them put up 20 points, and but containing the quarterback, I was really impressed by that, and
yeah, it seems like we got a lot more pressure from our defensive line than we have been the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. But, yeah, also Etling, I was really impressed by him. You know, 25 for 44, 315 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception, but right now he has a 127.4 QBR.
Talking about for the season.
Yeah, for the season.
Yeah.
And he's not looking too bad right now. So we'll see how that goes going into Jordan-Hare Stadium.
I have a question right quick.
All right, go ahead.
Since this game was at LSU, is it just me, or does it seem like Death Valley's lost a little bit of its luster this season?
Well, it was a huge blow for that Wisconsin game, for sure.
Even though, like, I know that our first home game was against Jacksonville State, and you can't put too much merit into that, but we didn't come out very, aggressive in that game either. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like Death Valley's looking a little flat this season.
We'll see. We'll see how flat it is when Bama comes to town.
Oh, yeah, it'll definitely be rocking November.
Oh yeah, and we'll see. Yeah, we'll see that when they come into town. We'll see when Ole Miss comes into town. We'll see how that goes. Mississippi State wasn't a huge football game,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
the SEC opener. So yeah. I feel the fans should have came out a little bit for that one.
Yeah, but trust me, they'll be there. There's nothing to worry about that. But let's go ahead and move on to the upcoming game against Auburn in Jordan-Hare Stadium at the University of Auburn. The Tigers versus the Tigers.
The old Tiger Bowl.
Yep. So go ahead and give me your thoughts and go ahead and tell me who you think's going to win, even though I know the answer.
My thoughts before the A&M Auburn game, I was really surprised with Auburn's defense, mostly how they held Clemson. Because we've known Clemson to be a high octane offensive team. Of course, they haven't looked like that this past year, besides the last game. But I was really impressed with how their defense had played before that game against A&M, and I was a little worried how we would do against the two-system quarterback that they like to run, because our defense hasn't shown anything to impress me besides the little bit in this Mississippi State game so far.
Okay.
I still feel LSU will win though, just because we seem to have Auburn's number the past couple years. I know. Wait, last year I know that was Leonard's big coming out party. Was the year before that the blowout when Harris started?
What?
The year before last, was that the year that we went to Auburn and got embarrassed?
Yeah, that was Harris's first start.
Yes, okay. So not the past couple years, but last year. And Auburn's been in a real downfall.
Which is another example, Harris's first start. I know it's his first start, and Les Miles wanted to give him confidence, after that game. But that's another thing to show that Miles did not pour the quarterback out when we still had a chance to win that football game.
That game was gone a long time before we would have took out Harris.
No, but I think leaving him in that long probably hurt. I think it hurt him more than it helped.
Yeah, I don't think the trial by fire helped in that situation.
All right, so just go ahead and tell me, LSU, Auburn.
I have to go LSU. Score? You want to score? Ooh.
Come on
I
now.
don't do scores. I don't know. I mean, sometimes our offense is on, sometimes it's off, man. Geez, you really put me in a spot here.
So Etling versus the Auburn defense. Fournette versus the Auburn defense, which he embarrassed.
He definitely, yeah. I think we can put up about 24. I honestly won't be surprised if we only win by a touchdown, just because it seems like we play down to our opponents a lot. Plus, it is at Auburn. It's on the road. We didn't play well in Wisconsin. I'll go 24-13, just because I'm feeling a little confident.
Okay, so 24-13 Auburn. All right, we're going to keep that down. I'll remember that.
Oh, all right.
But what I think is going to be the downfall for LSU in Jordan-Hare Stadium is...
So are you saying you're predicting Auburn to win?
No.
Okay.
No. You just wait. You hold your horses. But I think the X factor for the Tigers will be if Gus Malzahn will keep one quarterback the entire game. Because I think if you put two quarterbacks in, I think that's going to hurt Auburn more than it's going to hurt LSU. I think it's you stick with Sean White or Jeremy Johnson, which I think he's probably going to stick with Sean White now.
Yeah, that's where I'd be leaning to.
And, cause Sean White played the whole game last week against A&M, but there's still talk about a quarterback competition going on. So we'll see how that goes, but I think you keep Sean White in, and that will help the Auburn Tigers more. And but I think the X factor for LSU is definitely going to be the play of Etling again, because what I saw is Fournette puts up 64 yards.
What, this week?
Yeah,
47.
Yeah, 147 yards. I got the stat right in front of me. What the heck am I saying?
Had a 5.3 yards per carry average.
Yeah, I think you have to pass the ball, make clutch throws on third down to open up the running game for Fournette to be able to embarrass Auburn like he did last year. And another thing LSU's defense has got to worry about is K'Ron Johnson, the sophomore running back for Auburn, who's actually having a decent year, statistically better year than Leonard Fournette. He has 278 yards on 56 carries and 4 touchdowns. And what I saw against Auburn and Clemson and Auburn and Texas A&M, those two games for Auburn, is that they can score in the red zone. They are very efficient inside the red zone. So I think to keep Auburn out of the red zone, and if they do, force them to kick a field goal. And I think LSU is going to win this game, I say 21-10. I think the defense is going to step up.
So we both have it as a pretty low-scoring affair.
Yeah, I don't think I think Fournette will probably have all the touchdowns. I don't think Etling will throw one. But he will have a lot of yards. He will open up that he will open up the middle of the field for Fournette to be able to run up the middle to get first downs, and then Fournette will do his thing inside the red zone.
Yeah, I want to see Etling come out, Cam Cameron. I want to see him call a play to really establish Etling in this game early. I want to see him come out and throw the ball first down, which almost everyone in the stadium always expects Fournette to get the carry on first down. But I'd like to see a play action and just Etling sling it downfield. Just really try to open up the offense and show them that we're going to be coming at them the whole game.
And someone who's really shocking me, who LSU's going to play later on in the season, is A&M quarterback Trevor Knight. I think he's actually doing pretty well with the Aggies right now.
Former Oklahoma boy.
Yeah, former Oklahoma boy. Knight, went 20 for 40, threw 50% for 274 yards and 1 touchdown against the Tigers of Auburn. But with
the number
on the season, it's a decent year. He had a great game against UCLA. He, A&M blew out Prairie View State 67-0. Then they beat Auburn 29-16. So Auburn's coming off a loss.
Was that game at Auburn?
Yeah.
That's okay, and that's one thing I want to point out. Looking at A&M stats, you were talking about Trevor Knight. The stat that sticks out to me is A&M's rushing stats. 37 attempts as a team for 231 yards.
Yeah.
So
They're throwing the ball a lot more.
If A&M can do that against Auburn, then I have no doubt that Fournette should have a field day.
Yeah.
Especially since that game was at Auburn.
Yeah. Auburn's weakness on defense is definitely their run game. Their linebacker core is not what it usually is over in Auburn. But
Auburn's just been in a downfall ever since that national championship loss, it seems like.
Yeah, that was a tough one to take. You know, they had a lead going
Being
into
an
halftime.
LSU fan, I know how that feels.
Oh, yeah, being an Oklahoma fan for every bowl game we're in, I know how that feels. But, all right, that's the preview for this week, guys. I thank y'all for joining in. Thank you, Adrian, for joining me.
That's what I do.
Adrian, we got the biggest LSU fan in the entire state of Louisiana.
I feel like I'm the most reasonable LSU fan. That'd be a better statement.
Yeah, so all right, y'all don't forget to follow us on social media and vote for our 11:30 The Tiger high school football game of the week. This week we have two huge games in 5A with the Evangel Christian Academy Eagles going up against the Parkway Panthers. Might be one of the biggest games in District 1 5A this season. Then also another 5A game, we have one of the biggest rivalries in the state of Louisiana with Byrd against Captain Shreve at Lee Hedges Stadium on Thursday night. Then we also have Homer at Plain Dealing, Green Oaks at Houghton, and Huntington at Benton. So y'all go vote for that, and you can vote for that by following us on Facebook and Twitter at 1130 The Tiger. We have links to that up every single day. You can vote more than once, and the winner, we will be there live and updating y'all on social media and getting interviews with the players and the coaches after the game and having a highlight reel of that game. So thank y'all for joining again. I love y'all. God bless. And always, go Tigers.